So the next topic I'm going to discuss is having students find equivalent fractions. Students need to know how to find equivalent fractions so they can add fractions, subtract fractions, and simplify fractions. So you need to take time teaching students how to find equivalent fractions before they move to those next levels. So for example, find a fraction that is equivalent to 3/4. So you may remember in elementary school that your teacher probably told you that in order to find an equivalent fraction, you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So 6/8 would be an equivalent fraction for 3/4. 9/12 would be an equivalent fraction for 3/4, and so on and so forth. But for a conceptual understanding, it helps students to be able to model and note that for equivalent fractions, they are the same size. So we calculated that 9/12 is an equivalent fraction to 3/4. It's helpful if you have your students model and compare and instead of just following the rule, they can see that the size of 9/12 is the same as the size of 1/4. So again, an equivalent fraction to 1/3, we could multiply the numerator times 2 and the denominator times 2. We always want to emphasize that math-specific vocabulary. The top number is the numerator, the bottom number is the denominator, and we multiply 1 times 2 to get 2, 3 times 2 to get 6. So an equivalent fraction of 1/3 is 2/6. The problem with just teaching this strategy is that this may encourage that thinking that the numerator and the denominator of a fraction are two separate numbers. So we want to, rather than just teach that strategy, that procedure, we want our students to be able to visualize, guess and check, make mistakes, trial and error, try to find fractions that are actually equivalent to one another. So they can see here that 2/6 is again the same size as 1/3, and that's why they are equivalent.